Hey, welcome back. Been a minute, but I got a new build to share with you. A lot of you have been waiting for this for a long time from Boom Racing. This is the AWB chassis, the adjustable wheelbase BRX01 with a ZIL body. So I just got it. It's not a production set. It is a pre-production for me to build and kind of feel it out a little bit. I did get my new hat from Boom, which is pretty nice, I must say. I like it. They sent it to me in the box, so big shout out to Jason and all the guys that have been working on this to make it perfect and production ready. And this will be one of the first 4 builds of the production setup, and I'm hoping to take you along for this, and I'll jump in here and there and show you progress. I'm not going to do a step-by-step build because this is a new kit to me, so it might take me a little longer to kind of do it. So yeah, I'll bring you along for the important steps and as I work through the chassis and then on to the body. So here we go. All right, so step 2 of putting chassis rails together is actually for setting the wheelbase. So the adjuster mechanism, so they give you these very small washers, and you can see the ridges on them. So when they stamp those ridges, there's markings on the other side, but you can definitely tell the side that has the deeper ridges. My suggestion is all 4 of these screws. Now these are a little tight with a coating on them, but you can thread the screw through that adjuster square and just run it all the way up to the hilt, so to speak. That way you know when you put this together that you have the ridges lined up with the other ridge plate. And that ridge plate is this piece, which is an insert. This piece drops into the relief in the chassis, and that's what your screw locks into. So ridges on ridges to keep the chassis from spreading. The reason that they did this is that there is it's a very narrow uh, margin for making adjustments to this chassis rail, and they have a mark on them. You can see there, and for this particular one, stock setup is a 2 millimeter gap. So when you run these screws in, one, having the square washer on there already is a big help, and you have to make sure that it's oriented to the piece that you dropped into the plate. So they want you to use, there's 4 holes in this rail extension, and they want you to use the last one on the end and the one in the middle. So when you go to lock this plate down, it's a little finicky, but if you hold it down with your thumb, with your fingernail, and you can really get that plate in there, it does make it easier to assemble. This is the fiddly part of the build, I would expect, is to get these chassis rails adjusted correctly. So you can see once you have them in there, you can still spread them apart, but this is the measurement that you're really looking for, is to get it there. So let me go ahead and get this adjusted. I'll back these off just a smidge, get my 2 millimeter, get it locked back down. Now once you get this locked down and you get your 2 millimeter adjustment as called out by the manual, then take one of these screws out at a time, put your little dab of thread lock on them, and lock them back in. So just wanted to show you how they measure the adjustable wheelbase on these trucks, and they give you a nice little measurement tool. So it's etched right into the side of the chassis. All right, so we have an assembled chassis. There it is. So some pretty cool stuff. There is a brace right here that bolts on to the bottom of the rail as well as the side of the rail. So it's pretty cool. Don't forget to put your shift servo mount in there. Of course, Loctite on everything, but the screws are called out very well for what sizes go in here, so pay attention to the manual. What I did, I found it easier to put this brace, the cross brace that has the screws from the top, to put that on last. It just made it easier to put the rails together instead of trying to fumble around with a bunch of loosey-goosey stuff. I just left this piece off, sat the chassis on its side, and assembled all the cross members. So it, yeah, so far so good. It is, I have a chassis. So onto the transmission, which looks to be a normal boom racing 2-speed transmission. So we'll come back when we're ready. So transmission's in, assembled. No real difference from any of the others. With the long shaft, going through and using the pin that they provide, so you can build the transfer case separate from the transfer and eliminate any jack shaft in between. Makes life easy. What I highly suggest is when you put the screws in to the chassis pieces at the front of the transmission, leave them a little loose, loosen up the cross member screws just a little bit, and then run in your bottom screws next. Run these all the way into tight. This is a 10 mil, this is an 8 mil, so make sure you have the screws in the right place or you'll drive your screw into the transmission gears. Tighten these up, then tighten up the screws on the front cross, and then tighten up the cross brace, and everything will run smooth. There won't be any vibrations, no wonkiness going on. Everything stays in alignment. That's just me. It's how I do it. One thing that you may want, these little screw measure stick plastic pieces that Boom Racing has been giving out. These are a lifesaver, especially in a pre-production kit. The screws are kind of all in one bag, so to be able to measure everything out, this thing is super handy. If you don't have one, maybe your free gift or something you can use for one of these at some point in time, or if you see me at a show, ask me, I'll give you one, as long as I keep them. All right, so we're moving on, and we're going to get to I think leaf springs and anti torque bars, so we'll get to it. All right, and she is all together. There wasn't really anything notable out of the instructions to really zone in on. They're pretty straightforward, pretty simple. I do like my Castle slates in these transmissions. This particular one is of the 3800 kV spice, so it's a little bit much. Did use a Operation 11 Charlie Reef servo, as well as a Reef's Micro 55, which slips right in place of the JK servos. There's nothing wrong with these servos. They're just not silent. I like silent. But yeah, the radio box is much bigger. I'd say the only thing that I had an issue with was the screws for the cover plate. It calls out for a 2.5 mil, and they're obviously 2 mil inserts, so I just put some 2 mils in there. The rest of it on point, no issues with hardware. I do like the ESC mount that's incorporated up front. My Micro 2X will fit right on there without issue. Won't really know until the body is on it as to where placement of electronics is going to finalize, but pretty happy with it. It does all the flexi things, and it does it well, just like a boom truck should. So yeah, there we go, and we'll see you when we get onto the body. All right, so you know how things may escalate quickly, and you don't always take time to slow down, record what you've done. Yeah, that happened. So I have a completed truck. Before I show it to you, let me talk to you a little bit about the build experience. So the body was fantastic. It's much simpler than the Defender or the series bodies. It's not quite so authentic, because it doesn't need to be. This truck has all the pieces that you would want. It's got a dash, it's got a steering wheel, it's got seats, it's got an interior pan, it's got windows, wipers, mirrors, lights. It's got all that stuff, but it's a lot simpler. It's a lot easier to build. Now, with that said, you will have to plan your paint job appropriately, because some things need to be black, some things need to be color, some things need to be accents. So you have to plan accordingly. I highly suggest maybe not pre-building it, but at least laying it out and seeing where panels line up to be able to make the assumptions on what needs paint where before you get started. All I did was I just washed the plastics with soap and water, just dish soap and water, warm water, and I just washed them. I didn't sand anything. I didn't prep anything per se. I just wanted to get some paint down. I had one day this week with 43-degree weather. So if you know anything about anything with weather in the Northeast, you take what you can get. So I laid everything out. I warmed up the garage, and I laid down some color. So I used Max Flex from Glidden. It's at Home Depot. I love that stuff. It lays down really nice. I finally got RC Everyday, Josh Dutton, using it, and he seems to like it as well. So just real simple stuff. Knocked it down with a little bit of the Mr. Weathering color for realistic models. Knocked it down with some of that in black just to kind of take the sheen off of it. It's not a heavily weathered or rusted or anything like that body. It's just true to the ZIL. Just looked up some Russian ZIL truck pictures and just got some inspiration from it, and that's what I went with, and it came out pretty good. So without further ado, let me flip you around here so you can see what I've created. So there it is, on ZIL Boom Racing. The doors do open. I still got some stuff kind of glue curing, so I'm not messing with it. It is a smaller truck, I would say, in scale. I mean, it is adjustable wheelbase, so you can put whatever body you want on it. I was auditioning some Toyota bodies that I had laying around, so a body like this is perfect for it. The axles will fit tucked under it, just extend the wheelbase, and I think that'll be a pretty good, the TF2 body will be pretty good on that. Having all leaf spring, it is, it's leaf spring truck. No, I don't have electronics in it yet. Leaf spring truck, it's really good. I did a little bit of weathering on the wheels, just like I said, just to knock everything down. Some of the cool stuff is that the hood opens. It's got magnets, so you do have a possibility for an engine bay in the future. Everything's cut out and nicely placed. You can put an ESC up here or an on-off switch or whatever. Put it, magnet closure. Oh, there is a faux radiator up here. So you do have a radiator that goes in. It's the last piece actually goes on. You do have mirrors. Headlight buckets, turn signals, all that stuff is there ready for LEDs. The interior, you can see in there, got a decent interior in it. This is a body stay on truck. So the battery actually goes back here. You'd run your power cable up, and that's where you put your battery in. So you're not trying to take the body on and off multiple billion times. It's it's screwed down in here, back here, under here. It's all over the place, but it's really secure. Tailgate does flip down, so you do have that little piece of scale goodness there. It does have a nice little under tray of the bed. It doesn't have metal bumpers or anything like that on it. It's pretty tucked up. There's the front bumper. It actually attaches to the grill piece. So yeah, it's quite a little truck. I always enjoy building a boom racing truck, and the AWB BRX01 is no different. This was a really cool, fun build, and I'm really glad that, or honored that Jason allowed me to build this pre-production to kind of work some stuff out. I really didn't have any glitches, so I would say it's ready for production. Maybe a few notes here and there, but like this video will help you. But I'm sure somebody will do a more detailed build video on it when they do come out. So we'll leave it to them. All right, so thanks again for watching, and look forward to putting this thing out on the trail, get some running video when the weather breaks. Thanks for watching.